All right. What's up, everybody? My name is Tony Battle, as you can probably see on Facebook. I just figured I'd go live just to go over all the Pineapple Vintage and Emperor line. I've actually decided to let go of majority of the ones that I have, and I've owned all of them except for Noir Intense, which is currently discontinued, and Pineapple Vintage Classic. Those are the only two I have not owned in the whole entire line. So at this point, the ones I've decided to keep are Emperor Cologne, Emperor Cologne Intense, limited edition, Colossus, King, and King Intense. All the other ones I'm keeping decants of and letting the full bottle go. And that's no slight on Parfums Vintage as a company, nor is it a slight on the actual fragrances. It's just I have so much Aventus that I gotta let go of something. And I can't let go of any of my designers because all my designers are considered vintage at this point. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then I have like Green Irish Tweed, Silver Mountain Water. I don't want to let those go as well. Um, so anyway, I'm going to go over the whole line, no in particular order, and just give you my personal description. The exact two you haven't had either. Yeah, I feel like from what everybody's been saying, like before I got into the company, Pineapple Vintage, just the regular one, isn't worth having if you already have Intense. And since I got Intense first, it was just kind of like, I've been kind of curious, but then I'm just like, am I really curious enough to spend 100 and however many dollars, and it might smell exactly the same as Pineapple Vintage Intense? And mind you, I know I'm looking like half dead. I have not had a shower today. I'm kind of just waking up. I'm in Australia, by the way, so it's all Sesame Street here. Sunny day. I might actually go swimming in after all this is done. So yeah, I'm going to talk about them. I'm actually going to compare and contrast to actual Aventus. And one thing that's really cool about Parfums Vintage as a company, or just what they do, is they don't smell exactly like Aventus. So it's a plus and a minus. It's a plus if you just want something that's basically very similar to Aventus but still smells different. And it's a minus if you're just going for straight up, I don't want to spend however many dollars for Aventus, and I want something that smells exactly like it but not pay as much. Well, it's going to be a minus for you, other than maybe Emperor X-Straight EDP and Emperor, I said X-Straight, yeah, X-Straight and EDP. These, thank you, appreciate it. This is small, like my hair is like that long, like this. I'm still going, so this is just kind of compact, but I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so do you guys have any particular order? Is there anything that you want to hear about first? I can let you guys decide, or I can just pick at random. Um, and if you're just getting here, like I said, I own and have owned all of them except for Pineapple Vintage Classic and Noir Intense. And I only didn't get Noir Intense because by the time I actually decided I kind of wanted it, it was discontinued. So I'm just like, ah. But I have decants. All the ones that I've sold so far, I have like decants of. So I either kept anywhere between 20 and 40 milliliters total of them all. Actually, since I picked up Maximus, let me talk about Maximus. Now, Maximus, to me, I hear, and I used to say this as well, and now that I've smelled more 17s and have way more experience with the Ventus, Maximus to me is brighter, but I wouldn't call it a take on the 17s. And here's why. Most of the 17s that I own have like a vanilla note. And the vanilla, to my nose, is not in Maximus. And that's what kind of sets it apart. Like, especially if we compare it to like 17T. obviously 17T is kind of an anomaly just because of the mainly because of that apple and that vanilla kind of making it super sharp. Maximus doesn't really have, I feel like, yeah, I used to really like Vanilla Intense, and then I actually decided to sell the bottle, but I still have 20 milliliters left, just a decants. And it's really good. The only thing to me is the vanilla is very different than the actual vanilla that's in any Aventus that I have. And that's kind of why I started promoting King a lot more, because to me, King is where Vanilla Intense ramps up the vanilla super high. Like, it's like the vanilla is like this and the pineapple is like this. What King does is it takes the vanilla, like if you have the pineapple, the vanilla is just like right on top. It's not like this. This would be the ratio of Vanilla Intense with the pineapple, and this would be the ratio with the pineapple and the vanilla in King, as well as King Intense. So that's why I really like King Intense. Like, if you're a bigger fan, if you're a fan of the pineapple and just want a little bit of vanilla, King is your guy. Like, and it, to me, to my nose, it's very close. It's the closest one that they have to any 17 batch that I have. The only caveat, like I said earlier, the vanilla note itself is different than actual Aventus. But it's reminiscent. It's the most reminiscent of a 17 batch to what I have than anything, as far as in the line. And then King Intense would be, you take that same opening pretty much that King has, but you add some woods. It's like you take the same, that's the best way. I actually wore King Intense yesterday on one hand, and on this hand I wore the one. And I actually like King Intense a lot more than the one. I like the one a lot, but I'm starting to get an apple note in the one, and I don't like that as much as I remember liking the sample. Because I've noticed in, I hate to say this because this is no shade on the company at all, but I have noticed sometimes that my samples give me a different vibe than the actual full bottle. Some, like my sample of the one, and I'm kind of all over the place. I'm sorry, I should have been more organized. But I noticed my sample of the one had way more pineapple. The pineapple was super ramped up. It was kind of close to the pineapple in gold, but not as much musk. It was like a juicier pineapple with way less musks from the sample, and it lasted so long. It projected really well. My bottle, I've only worn my full bottle about twice now, and from the bottle I actually get more, I get a balance of pineapple and apple, which is not a bad thing, but it's not the same. It just doesn't do, I just say it plainly. I like the sample that I got of the one better than my full bottle. And I got those around the same time, if not the exact same time, because there was a promotion going and they were giving out samples. I think they gave out like 2 samples or so of the one. But I had bought the one as well as that. I don't find it important to PV, just as Aventus is similar, but yeah, it's his own thing. That's the thing. It's his own thing. So if you're looking for an exact replica, just get Aventus. Like I've been telling people for so long now. Actually, not really, a couple months. But if Aventus is exactly what you want, no other clone house is going to do it. I've got the Duas. I actually have the Duas right here, and I've got all the Parfums vintage. And to me, they hold their place. Well, the Parfums vintage holds their place. The Duas, Mode Elixir is okay though. I'm not gonna lie, Mode Elixir is pretty damn good. But the Parfums vintage, they kind of it's literally their take on Aventus. So you have to come at it with that mindset. You have to come at it from the mindset of, I know what Aventus smells like, and I'm looking for something that's slightly different, like a slight remix with the notes versus an exact replica. The only one that comes almost like super, super close would be Emperor and Emperor X Straight. Those are damn close. And I would say those are close to a 16 batch. But the thing about 16s, like I have 16 MO1 and 16 CO1. And the only thing I would say that's missing from Emperor and Emperor X-Straight would be a vanilla note, like more vanilla and vanilla, black currant, and a slight anise slash licorice note. That's the only thing setting it apart from an exact replica, in my opinion, of a 16 batch. It's got the balance that I have of my 16C, but my 16C also has a very prominent, I'll just say licorice for people who don't know what anise is, but it's pretty much anise with like a black currant undertone. But that's the only thing setting Emperor and Emperor X Straight apart from a legit 16 batch. But if you're just looking for a super balanced 16 vibe, Emperor and Emperor X Straight are like that. But let me actually get to them. So I started with Maximus. So Maximus, to me, the only thing that's separating it really from a legit 17 batch is the mids and the vanilla. If it had the exact, or if it had deeper mids, then it would get super close to a 17 batch. And then if you add some vanilla right in there, boom, you would have a 17. But Maximus and Maximus EDP, and really the main difference between the EDP and the X Straight, I said Maximus and EDP, I meant X Straight and the EDP. The main difference between those two would be there's slightly more depth to the X Straight, and it's ever so slightly more woody. That's the only thing that separates those two. And actually I'll say that Maximus X Straight has great projection. Obviously the longevity is going to be there, but I remember wearing Maximus X Straight one time and I thought, wow, this is really projecting better than I expected it to, especially with all the talk about how the EDP versus X Straight, how they kind of project differently. So if I were to pick between Maximus and Maximus X Straight, it would be the X Straight, just because there's that depth. The mids aren't as carved out. I would say with Maximus, it's kind of like, if you guys are into music, it would be like scooped mids, especially like if you're into guitars and stuff. Shouts out Johnny. If you're into guitars and you know what scooped mids, that tone sounds like, that's kind of what Maximus and Maximus X Straight are, but more so just Maximus EDP. It's like you've got the ramped up brightness with more pineapple, but then the mids just don't really cut it as much as, say, Real Aventus or even Emperor and those sort of things. Like it to me, it doesn't develop as much as the rest in the line. I would say out of all of them, it has like the least mids. Hey, shouts out Johnny. Yeah, Johnny know what I'm talking about. It's like Dimebag Daryl's tone. I love Dimebags, and I'm not trying to say I don't love Maximus or Maximus X Straight, but there's a lack of mids in Dimebag's tone, and there's also a lack of mids in Emperor Maximus and the EDP, but more so. I mean, not the X Straight, but more so the EDP. But that's just me. So I kind of already taken care of Maximus and Maximus X Straight. And like I said, the main difference between those two would be there's a bit more depth in the X Straight, and it's ever so slightly more woody, just ever so slightly. Let me hit on, I'm going to pull out Gold, PVI, and the One. And I talked about the One earlier. Where is the One? Oh, the One is over here. It's in my cell pile. I got to decant like 30 milliliters or so out of it and keep it. But I wore the One yesterday, and I kind of convinced myself, I think I might sell it. Mind you, I like everything that I'm selling. I'm always keeping decants up because I still want to have them, but I can get much more worth out of just selling my bottle because I got what is it? 14 bottles of Aventus, 15 if you count um, an extra bottle of 17 N01 that I'm actually trying to sell because it's my backup bottle. And then I've got a backup bottle of 17W11 as well. My mom just texted me. um, so yeah, that's literally 15 bottles of Aventus plus a backup of something that I'm trying to sell. I don't need so much of the Aventus DNA. But getting into, let me go to Parfums Vintage Intense. So Intense and Gold are very, very similar. Obviously, the main difference between Intense and Gold are basically the musk is ramped up a lot more in Gold. Um, ooh, two sprayers came off. I didn't mean for that to happen. But they both smell very or not. They both smell very similar. I would say Intense Gold projects better. It's like if Intense was here, Intense Gold would be about here as far as the projection and actually longevity as well. They both have great projection and longevity, but I definitely get more out of Gold. But something about PVI keeps me coming back to it. I think it's just the musk is better balanced to my nose. So it's like you're getting more pineapple. You still get that musky undertone, but it's not nearly as ramped up as Intense Gold. Like Intense Gold, to my nose, is like the main stars are just like, if they were to just put two notes, pineapple and musk, that would be like super accurate to me. You do get the other notes, like you do get a little bit of, I would say, ambroxan. Is that like a cardinal sin to say instead of ambergris? But you do get a little bit of it, but it's like you have to really look for it versus all the other. I keep getting notifications on my. Shouts out to side note. Shouts out to Austin Hendricks, who's not really Jimmy's nephew, but he always claims that he is. But yeah, you do get a little bit of ambergris and yeah, Gold is just like, it's super musky, man. It's just like, and it's not like a bad musk because the pineapple balances it out, but like when I get whiffs of it throughout the day when I'm wearing it, I'm just thinking the ratio. It's like the ratio of the musk and the pineapple sort of go back and forth. So initially you get pineapple and musk, it'll be like this, and then as you wear it, the musk sorts to kind of, and then the ratio just kind of switches. And then other times you'll get whiffs of it, and then the ratio is like pineapple musk, and then other times it's like musk pineapple, so like that. But with the one I used to think was literally just a better version of PVI. But the more and more I wear the one, the more I get like an apple note. It's kind of similar to if any of you guys smelled Noir, and I guess that's a good segue to Noir. If any of you guys have smelled Noir, when you first smell it, you get a unmistakable blast of sour green apple. And when I say sour, I don't mean like stinky sour. I just mean like take like a green apple candy, and it's got that vibe when you first start. I get a little bit of that actually in Intense the One, which to me, it's enjoyable, but when I really want it with Intense the One is mainly what they say, just in a more higher impact version of PVI. Like I was really hoping that it would be the PVI to what PVI is to Classic. And it might be since I've never got my nose on Classic, but there's some extra things going on in Intense the One that kind of make it so it's slightly redundant, but they don't smell exactly alike. Um, Let me actually get my nose. Yeah, I pick up some apple. It's like the apple and pineapple are kind of sort of fighting each other to be the star. It's like Band of Gypsies with Jimmy and Buddy Miles. Like, which one's a star? Everybody thinks it's the pineapple, but you know, the apple kind of thinks, the apple being Buddy Miles, the apple thinks that it's the star, but the pineapple knows it's a star, and it's just like, hey man, come on, man. That's kind of how the one is to me. Also, with the one, I actually get less I get the same amount of longevity. Actually, no, I do get less performance in the one versus PVI or gold. And it's weird because my sample performed better than all the other ones. The actual full bottle doesn't perform like the sample. Maybe that's because the sample had more air in it or more oxygen, whatever you want to say. I don't know. But my sample legit performed a lot better than my bottle. And with the sample, I got more pineapple. Like, pineapple was the unmistakable star. With my full bottle, it's like apple and pineapple are kind of competing with each other. Um, so it's kind of, you know, I don't know how to call it. I'm not saying anything negative, or I'm not throwing any shade. You know what I'm saying? That's not me. If I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna just go ahead out and say it. Like, I'm a straight shooter. Like, I don't care who's feeling it, as long as I'm not being rude. That's how I am. Like, I'm not gonna be rude, but I'm gonna also be a straight shooter. That's just me. Red apple in the one. Oh, so you get the apple too? Okay, so it's not just me. I was thinking it was just me, but I get like a unmistakable apple note in the one. And it makes more sense to me in noir, but not as much as the one, since the one is supposed to be basically PVI, just a higher impact version. So I don't know. I don't know how to call it. But since I've talked about noir, let me talk about noir. Now, noir is literally one of my favorites, actually. And initially, I didn't pick up on the smoke as much, but the more and more I wore it, the more I picked up on that smoky undertone. And it's not like a super, not like a super cigarette smoke or um, like a campfire smoke. It's more kind of like slight ashy smoke. So that's how I feel about noir. It starts out with that It's like an unmistakable sour green apple candy instead of a pineapple, and that's literally the only mark I would give off on it. If it started out with legit pineapple and then did the exact same thing, noir would probably be my favorite. Like I would pick noir over intense gold, PVI, and definitely the one if it started out with pineapple as opposed to the sour green apple candy that I get in the opening of noir. Um, but it's still, regardless of that, it's still one of my favorites. Um, yeah, I completely get you. I feel like it's more like a green apple because the only clone that I legit smell like an unmistakable red apple, and my bad to say this on a Parfums vintage, stream, is Dua's Mod 2. Mod 2 has an unmistakable red apple. Like, that's the star. Like, it's like, hey, I'm red apple. Like, what about me? You know what I'm saying? What about Raven? Shouts out WCW. That's the only one I get like an unmistakable red apple. All the other ones are more green apple to me, but our noses are different. But we both picking up apple, so hey, you know what I'm saying? Let me read some of the comments though. My bad. I'm not ignoring y'all. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything out because I get like super scatterbrained and unorganized. So if I segue to one thing and go to the comments, I'm just like ooh, I didn't mean to bring you on camera. I think I almost invited somebody on camera. I didn't mean to do that. My bad. Please decline that. um, Unfortunately, I found some of my samples seem to be strong. Yeah, Rob Lilly. I agree 100%, a million percent actually. I don't like to say 100%. What is 100? Um, I guess technically what is a million, but most of the time I always say a million percent. But yeah, my samples um, are generally stronger than my full bottles. The only ones I can say that aren't would be like the ones I got last year. Yeah, last year before I bought like full bottles, I had like Russia Unicorns. That one performed really well. That sample performed really well, but so does my legit bottle. So uh, I would say King Intense. My bottle probably performs better than the sample, and I was gonna say Vanilla Intense, but no, my bottle performs. My bottle. Oh, I don't even have the bottle anymore. I have decants, but that performs just as well as the sample as well. Um, Polo Red Intense is crazy red apple note. I've never smelled Polo Red Intense, so, but I guess it makes sense because red. So rojo. Um, but actually, since I talked about Noir, let me hit Beyond Noir. Now, Beyond Noir. I'm not gonna lie. It does remind. I have 1101 and 1102. Those are only two vintage batches of a vintage that I have. And this actually, the smoke note on here kind of legit reminds me of the smoke note in 1102. I mean 1101. I get more smoke in 1101 than I do 1102. I keep saying 1101. 11Y01 and 11Y02. And I get slightly more from 11Y01 than 11Y02. But Beyond Noir is like straight up smoke, barbecue smoke. But the thing about Beyond Noir is you have to give it some time. That's one thing I've noticed. Every time you wear it though, it's gonna smell like straight up smoke. Like I always try to. My lady doesn't really know much about fragrances, so I like to get her to test certain things out because it's an honest opinion on somebody who's not like super. Their nose is like super detailed, or they have no preconceived notions of what certain things are supposed to smell like. So I get literally the most pure, honest um, reactions, response, and feedback from her. Every time I wear Beyond Noir, she says, it smells like a barbecue. And it legit does. The first few wearings especially was like straight up barbecue, not barbecue sauce, but like, you know what I'm saying? You go to a backyard cookout and that smell that you get in the air, Beyond Noir, initially. Now I'm picking up on some of the more sweet elements of it. So I am picking up more pineapple, but it's literally smoke pineapple. It's like the same ratio of vanilla, how Vanilla Intense has the ratio of vanilla up here and pineapple down here. That's kind of how Beyond Noir is, where the smoke is up here and the pineapple is down here. And you can make out the pineapple, but you have to really kind of look for it initially. The more you wear it, or like if you decant it and then smell it, you'll get more of the sweeter elements from Beyond Noir. I really like Beyond Noir. The only thing is, though, initially it's kind of hard to wear because it's just like, do you really want to walk around smelling like damn near smoked meats? You know what I'm saying? Like almost like if you look at some of the reviews, some people say like bacon. I get that. Like it makes sense. It doesn't smell like straight up bacon, but it's pretty damn close when you first start to wear it. Like pretty damn close. But now that I've got it in the decants, it's definitely gotten a bit more sweet. The pineapple is coming out a little bit more, but the smoke is unmistakably there. Like if you like vintage smoke, this is pretty much as close as you're gonna get to those earlier batches. And like I said, I've got Actually, I don't got to prove shit to y'all. I don't got shit to prove to nobody. But I do have, like I said, a bottle of 11 Y01 and Y02. 11, not 17, because 17 Y01 and 17 Y02 are very good too as well. Some of my favorites, actually. Emperor and Emperor Extrait. Now, as I said before, those are the closest you're going to get to legit Aventus, especially like a 16 batch. The main difference is Emperor and Emperor Extrait lack the sort of licorice and vanilla notes that legit 16 batches have. That's my personal opinion. Otherwise, the basic Aventus smell is there, but it's not exact. To my nose, it's not exact to any batch that I currently own, and I've got a lot of them, like a lot, more than I really need. Like I could literally wear a Ventus every day for some years and still have a bunch left over. But also with Emperor and Emperor Extrait, and more so the EDP than the Extrait, is the mids and the dry down don't hit Aventus exact like or as close as the opening. I don't want to say it's linear, but with legit Aventus, you have a unmistakable, unless we're talking about like 17N, but you have an unmistakable opening, an unmistakable mid, and an unmistakable dry down. And each one of those stages has something different, especially if we want to talk batch variations. But each one of those stages has something where you know, sort of, if you smelled it more than once, you kind of know, okay, I'm in the mid right now. Okay, I'm definitely in the dry down. And obviously, you know, the opening. Where if I had to take marks off of Emperor EDP more so than the Extrait, it's the mid and the dry down don't hit as close as the opening. The opening, like I said, is like a very, very balanced. If you take the most balanced batch of Aventus that has no smoke, Emperor EDP would be like that. It would be like a variation, like a really good variation. Like it would be like the 17R01 to maybe like a 16 batch. In the Extrait, ever so more woody, and where the EDP kind of lacks getting to those mids in the dry down, the Extrait kind of gets closer, but it's still lacking if we're talking about comparing a 1-to-1 to legit Aventus. But it's literally as close as you're going to get. The only other one I can say, as far as in general clones, that come close to the legit dry down of Aventus, pains me to say, but do a mod 3, the dry down, just the dry down, not the opening, not the mid, but the dry down, just the dry down, and Mode Elixir, those actually hit a legit Aventus dry down. I'm not even the biggest fan of Mod 3. Everybody's like, oh, Mod 3, yeah. They're going to take off their shirt for Mod 3, show the boobies or whatever. Not me. Mod 3 is cool. It's cool, but it's not like, it's like you smell it, it's like, it's a nice smell, but it doesn't really get me Aventus. But the dry down, it's got that little bit of almost, it's got that like, you know how some people will say certain 15s have a reminiscent smell of vintage batches? It's got that dry down. It's got like a legit 15. Like I remember I got a bottle of 15X21 the day before I got Mod 3 and Mode Elixir. And the dry down on 15X21 is super close to what you get from the dry down of Mode Elixir and Mod 3. So shouts out Dua for that. But the openings, nah. That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. Let me talk about Napoleon. Napoleon, I really like. I feel like it's more going on with Napoleon than the other ones. And the reason being is when you first spray Napoleon, I used to think Napoleon was their take on Emperor Cologne, or like a mix of Emperor, or not Emperor Cologne, Aventus Cologne, or like a take on if Aventus and Aventus Cologne did fusion, huh? Like if they did that, I used to think that Napoleon was that. But although that's not super far off, the more and more I smell Napoleon, the more I get smoke. It's like a balance of smoke and freshness. Um, it's like when you first smell it, you get sort of like almost a minty. It's like a minty fresh version of the Aventus DNA, but you get like a smoky undertone. And when I say smoky, we're almost leaning into like a okay, Emperor Napoleon is like the menthol or the Newport of the emperors. That's the best way I can say it. It's almost like a menthol cigarette. Like if you like Camel menthol wides, that was my cigarette of choice when I did smoke cigarettes when I was in college. Shouts out VCU. I only did a year in VCU, so. But that's the best way I can describe it. But it smells good. Like it's got the elements of Aventus, but less pineapple and more freshness. When I say freshness, I don't mean brightness, just freshness. If we're talking bright, I would say Maximus. If we're talking fresh, Emperor Napoleon. And it's got like a little smoke on the undertone. It literally is like how like non-menthol cigarettes are more intrusive. This is a less intrusive smoke. Almost to the point where it's a little tough to actually make out the smoke initially, but the more you smell it, the more you actually kind of get a smoky note. Like leaning towards a cigarette smoke, but more so a menthol cigarette smoke because you got the freshness and you also have like a slight sort of minty menthol note within it. And it's actually one of my favorites. Like I have 40, this is the only one I think I have 40 milliliters that I kept for myself. And I'm selling the bottle. Where the other ones I kept like 20 or 30. This is the only one I kept 40 just because I was just like, I really like this. It's not for everybody. Most people, especially when it first came out, didn't even like it. And I guess I'm one of those people who I keep an open mind because I don't expect Aventus with all of these. Where I think that was the main thing that turned people off to say Colossus in limited edition, which is a good segue to those. Colossus is like you remix the standard Aventus DNA, but in addition to just remixing it a bit, you also throw in some like, if you guys know grape huggies, you guys know them little drinks that like they're shaped like a little barrel. Grape huggy. It kind of gives me that vibe. It's like a grape soda fused with grape huggy, fused with like a sugary grape candle or sugary grape candy. That's what you initially get when you first spray it. It's like unmistakable. So don't ever buy Colossus thinking you won't get an unmistakable grape, a sugary grape vibe, or like even a syrupy grape vibe. Don't buy it not thinking that, because when you get it and you think that that's what it's not going to be, that's what it is going to be, and you're going to disappoint yourself. Colossus and limited edition are initially like the first 2 or 3 wearings, you're going to get an unmistakable grape. The more you wear it though, that's kind of where the magic happens, where you get less grape and it's like a super sugary, syrupy, deep pineapple. That's what it's turned out for me. Like I might get grape for the first 2 minutes or so, but then after that, it's like the pineapple is just like sugary, candy, sweet, syrupy, and then it does its thing, and it stays like that for the majority of the life. Um, and it's literally one of the only ones I'm keeping a full bottle of. If you are just tuning in, the only ones I'm keeping a full bottle of currently are both Emperor colognes, because I really like a Ventus cologne, and I don't have a bottle of that, so it's just like, got 4 bottles of those. King Intense, limited edition, and Colossus. All the other ones, like I said, I'm selling the 4 bottles, but I'm keeping some for myself. So like anywhere between 20 and 40 milliliters, and I'm letting the bottle go because it's just like, do I really need all these fragrances? I got 15 bottles of Aventus, a bunch of, well, selling my Duas, and a bunch of other fragrances that aren't even related to Aventus at all. I'm never gonna go through a full bottle of anything. So that's that. So yeah, I really like Colossus as well, and that's what I was saying earlier. I think the downfall of Colossus is that it was in the Emperor line, and if it was released as, if it was an original release, if it was like called Big Daddy Grape, I don't know, something. I don't even know, like fucking syrupy fruity bowls, syrupy fruity pops, syrupy fruity pebbles, or something like that. I think people would like it a lot more, but the fact that it was in the Emperor line, people went in nose deep thinking that they were going to get another variation of Aventus. And it, like I said, it kind of has a remixed Aventus DNA. Difference between Colossus and limited edition. So they both are like literally the same DNA. And it's hard to pick up the differences if you're not wearing them side by side. It's kind of hard to pick up the differences. But like, if you wore one day, and then if you wore Colossus one day and limited edition the next day, you would swear you got the same thing. Side by side though, what I normally get is the grape vibe stays around longer with limited edition. Limited edition is slightly more light and a little bit more wearable and higher, or the higher heat. Now, when I say higher heat, I don't mean like it's fucking 100 degrees outside. I mean like we talking 87 degrees max. So I would be more inclined to wear, I'm in Australia, so I'll be more inclined to wear limited edition around this time than Colossus. Colossus would be like, let me think of certain fragrances that smell. Okay, great example. Terre Hermes, the EDP. Now you can wear that any time of year. But if you wear it in like the fall, the winter, cool. But then you got the, what is it, the fresh version? Or the fresh? You got that version, right? And that would be better to wear and get along way better in the warmer weather. And that's kind of Colossus and limited edition. It's like you got the same basic smell, but one is just ever so a little bit more light, so you can kind of get away with it in the higher heat. Now, if you're going to go outside and sweat and you're wearing Colossus, it might get slightly cloying, you know what I'm saying? Just slightly. But in general, Colossus for me on my skin isn't really cloying at all. But if I'm going to sweat or it's like super hot outside, it might just get in that territory where limited edition, it's got a little bit more room for that as opposed to Colossus. But like I said, I think Colossus is actually great. The only mark I would give off for it wouldn't even be on fragrance. It would be more so the name, it being Emperor Colossus. If they would have changed the name and advertised it as what it smelled like, I think it would have way more fans, because it's such a different take than all the other pineapple vintage fragrances that it could have been they could have advertised it as an original release and even mention a vintage. Like they could have said, you know, this is our original take on an Aventus DNA, but with different fruits on top or something. I don't know. I'm not a PR dude, so the way I mix words together might not be as good as somebody else, especially like a Virgo or Virgo moon or something like that, or people who have a lot of energy in the sixth house. Um, I do astrology as well on the side. But yeah, actually, because I like when they gave me my samples of limited edition, because I was just like, yes, I don't have to use my full bottle, because I hate using my full bottles. But now that I'm starting to realize that the magic is actually using some of your full bottle and then letting it kind of do its thing while you kind of use other samples or whatnot. But yeah, Colossus is just, I love Colossus. I'm sorry. Like people, it's like the ones that I love are the ones that people don't really give a shit about. So that would be like, I love King Intense. Not as much as King, but I do love King Intense. I love Colossus, or I love Limited Edition, and I love Colossus. It's just super nice to me. But that's just me. Have I gone over all of them? I think I have. Oh, you know what? No, I did talk about Vanilla Intense. Vanilla Intense is not one of my favorites. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's just not it. I'm not. King versus Vanilla Intense. I did, but I'll go over it again. Let me read this one comment that's right above you, and then I'll go over the difference between King and Vanilla Intense. It won't let me see more. It won't let me see more, but always figured limited edition was an experiment. Perfecting. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like if you have a song and you got two different mixes of it and you don't know which mix to put out because they both sound really good and one doesn't stand out above the other one, but you still like them both, you might put out one as the official release and then like the other mix on like the single. You know what I'm saying? That's what limited edition is. That's the best way I can describe limited edition. The best way. You know how like you buy like singles? Does anybody still buy? Oh yeah, I guess singles are the dominant factor in the music industry nowadays. But like, okay, I remember back in the day. If you guys used to listen to Korn, I used to love Korn. Is what got me to play guitar. I don't play like any 7-string stuff anymore, or like any. The closest I get to metal these days is like I like Pantera, right? But if you guys were into Korn back in the day and you bought like the Freak on the Leash or even Got the Life single and it had the different mixes, Colossus would be the official version. Like, you know what I'm saying? The official album version. Limited edition would be the versions that you hear directly after you hear the album version. And not like somebody's bullshit mix. Like I remember always hearing like Terry Day. Okay, limited edition is the Terry Dayton mix of Reinventing the Steel, Pantera. Yeah, if you guys have heard that one, I don't like that version as much. I do not like the Terry Date version. It's just like I would much rather listen to the original Reinventing the Steel. That's me. But that's what limited edition is. It's just like an alternate mixed version of the album release or the single release. It's the best way I can describe it. You got the same song, same structure, nothing has changed, but just the mix of it is different. But going back to Vanilla Intense versus King, the main difference is King has... Okay, so if we're talking woodiness, we've got King Intense is the most woody out of all the entire line, the most woody. Vanilla Intense would be less woody, or King EDP, just the king, would be it still has some woods, but not nearly as much as King Intense. And the Vanilla Intense has some woods, but it's like some, just a little bit. That's just purely on the woods. Now, if we're talking King versus Vanilla Intense, what King does, and this is why I like it better, and I've said this earlier, what King does is it takes what you have from Pineapple Vintage Intense, but it takes the pineapple down a little bit and adds a dollop of vanilla on top. Just like, boom, we all ready. We good, we good, we good. The reason why I don't like Vanilla Intense as much, and I like it, but it's like probably one of my least favorites in the entire line, is because it takes the pineapple way down, like way the fuck down, and then puts that vanilla way on top. But like where the difference between the ratio of the pineapple and the vanilla, all this is vanilla. It's like all vanilla. Where if I'm doing King, it's like pineapple, vanilla, but this little air gap is not all vanilla. It's just like a dollop of vanilla on top. So you get to still enjoy the pineapple, but you also get some of that vanilla on top. And it's the same with King Intense as well, but King Intense just has way more woods. So uh, there's more range in King Intense, and then there's slightly less range with King, but then there's way less range with Vanilla Intense. Like King Intense is like vanilla, pineapple, sweet. It's like a sweet pineapple with vanilla on top and then a lot of woods. King is the standard pineapple with some vanilla on top and some slight woods on the bottom, but more woods than obviously Vanilla Intense. And the Vanilla Intense is like vanilla, 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 some woods, just a little dab of woods on top or on the bottom, and that's what you get. So, and that's one of the reasons why I was pushing King so hard, is because I'm just like, if you like Vanilla Intense for what it is, and I respect that, then you gotta like King. Because King literally gives you vanilla if that's what you want. But instead of making vanilla so dominant that it's almost hard to make out the pineapple, you can still make out the pineapple in King. You just got some vanilla on top. And it's not like you have to look for the vanilla. Like the vanilla is there. But with Vanilla Intense, you're literally looking for pineapple in Vanilla Intense, to me. Where King is like the best of both worlds. King to me is literally, if King Intense and Vanilla Intense had a baby, boom. You know what I'm saying? If you guys know like Hebrew, 1 + 1 is 3, mother, father, child. We're talking energy here. We're talking energy. We ain't talking like straight up, I'm just adding a 1 and a 2, you know what I'm saying? We're talking energy. That's kind of what King is for me. The energy is just the best of both worlds. Like sometimes you look at somebody's child, and you can see all the features of the mother and father to the point where you can't make out like what you see more. That's what King is. So, personally not a big fan of King/King Intense. Go sour for me. That's cool. Respect. We all got different noses, so it doesn't go sour on me though. But that's just me. King Intense does get sweeter, and then from the sweetness of like the open and the mid, the dry down, as the dry down and or as the dry as it transitions from the mid to the dry down, the woods start to kick up, but it's like a sweeter woods for me. And then on the far dry down, especially like if you, I always spray on skin. I'm a skin spray person. Every now and then I might spray my clothes, but mostly on skin. But there was one time I remember I sprayed my shirt with King Intense, and then the next day I smelled it and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and sell this. This got to go. I don't need this. Like, you ain't got to go, but you got to get the fuck up out of here. That's how I was feeling about King Intense. Then the next time I wore it, I was like, actually, I really like this. But that time, I don't know what was going on. Maybe I was mixing it with my sweat, and maybe I was a little funky that day. Maybe I forgot to like put on some deodorant that day. So, you know, the underarm onion sort of funk just kind of mixed in with the woods. I don't know what the fuck was going on that time. But ever since then, I've really loved King Intense. King Intense was part of like some of the first ones I got. And I've actually used more King Intense. I've used more King Intense and Vanilla Intense than any of the other ones that I had full bottles at the time, which was at the time all of them, and now it's only like the ones I've mentioned earlier. Appreciate the live. Yeah, I appreciate y'all too. Actually, I just started a YouTube, so plug. It's called Kiss Me Ash, KISSMIASH. Kiss Me Ash. I don't have any videos up right now, but those will be soon come. And what I'm doing with that page mostly is taking all my batches of Aventus and just talking about each one. So I'll do a review on every batch of Aventus I have. Currently, I have 11Y01, 11Y02, 14G01, 15X21, 16M01, 16C01, 17N01, 17R01, 17T01, 17W11, 17Y01, 17Y02, and 19U11. So I'm going to go through all of those, do reviews on all of those. And then I'm going to hit, in between those, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to hit the Parfums vintage ones, hit the duo ones, just so everybody can get like my personal take on how I feel the clones compared to some of the vintage ones. Or, yeah, some of the vintage ones and the more modern ones. Because some of the clones actually do get close to some of the vintage ones. I wouldn't necessarily call them a replacement, but they're getting close. They're getting close, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? They're getting kind of close, especially Beyond the Wall. Beyond the Wall gets kind of close to my 11Y01. I'm not going to lie. It's cool. It would be nice for like a 16M01. Because 16M01 is just like fucking beautiful. 16M01. Like, I wish I had a full bottle. I had like 30 milliliters, maybe 35. But 16M01. I remember the first time I smelled it, I almost nutted. I was like, oh, Lord. Yes. 16M01 fucking 1. It's great. It's hard to find because people know how good it is. It's just like 17W11. I don't know what it is. Like, I love 17W11, but I feel like I posted about it in the Aventus Lounge, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, we're all looking for 16W11. I'm just like, where the fuck I never saw this. Like, I knew the demand was for 17T. Did I say 16W11? I mean 17W11. I knew the demand for 17T was big. I knew that. 17N, cool. 17Q11, hella. But then all of a sudden everybody talking about 17W11. I'm just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, so I secured my second bottle. Don't get me wrong. I got a backup bottle coming. But that is like my favorite 17 batch, I want to say. Yeah, 17W11 is like between that one, 16M01, those are some of my favorite ones. I haven't had enough time with my 11s to really gauge how much I like those versus those two. But, man. So, yeah, you're going to be hard-pressed for anybody to let go of 16M or 17W11. But if you do get those, like if you find them anywhere, just go for it. I wouldn't say pay $400 for them. If you can find 17 or 16M, I would go as high as like 475. 475 is my limit, but if somebody was like, bro, you gotta pay five, I'll be like, oh, all right, bro. All right, I got you. I might go as high as five for 16 MO1 because it's really good. The thing about it though is you gotta like dark Aventus. You gotta know that it's gonna have an unmistakable sort of licorice note. Have I tried Sandal Amber? I think I had a sample of it and I gave it away because I didn't care for it. Not saying that it was bad, but I just didn't personally care for it. I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some fragrances I'm just like, I don't, nah, bro, nah. What was that? I think it was Parfums vintage version of Straight to Heaven by Killian. I don't know if I respected that. I don't know. I don't know if I respected that. And then since I already mentioned Duo before, I'll mention him again. 13ZZ. That opening, yo, I don't respect that. I do not respect the opening of 13ZZ. I'm sorry, y'all. Maybe y'all got close. I've never smelled a Ventus batch 13ZZ01. I've never smelled that. So maybe they got close. But I don't respect that opening. As it dries down, though, I like it as it dries down. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I respect that. I respect the dry down. But that opening, hell nah, bruh. Hell nah. Hell nah. Yeah, you cannot create the hype until you get a backup bottle. Isaac, I'm gonna go ahead and like that. Or I can't even like it. I love that comment. You can until you secure that bottle, until you secure that backup, you can't create the hype because people be like, they be vultures out here. They be like, oh, dead meat. They just get on that shit. But bruh, like that's why I can't even front with the 16 MO1 because it's just like it's so much hype behind it anyway, and it's warranted. It's very much warranted. So yeah. And even 16C, I got a backup bottle of 16C. Like the backups I have are 16C01, 17T01, and 17W11. Those are the ones I got backup bottles of. That 17W11 though, fuck. But 16M01 everybody's already on, so it's just like fuck it. Like you might as well just say your feelings about it. Triland Beyond Noir and 19W11. Ooh, that actually sounds beautiful. As a matter of fact, that's another thing too with Beyond Noir. I feel like if you smell it and you feel like ooh that's too smoky, layer it with something that has more pineapple, and you'll do yourself good. I've actually personally never layered it. But just by smelling it, to me, I was like, this would be a better layering fragrance than just straight out, I'm going to wear this out every day and shouts out, you know. Oh, shouts out Ben. Shouts out Ben. Ben cool. How's Longevity and King Intense? Longevity and King Intense, I always get like somewhere between 7 and 10 hours. And I know that's a big gap, but some wings are better than others. Also, with fragrance in general, let me just say this. Me personally, I don't like to wear lotion. I like oils. So if you can get yourself some like the most non-intrusive smelling oil, from my personal experience, would be emu oil, or if you're in Australia, emu oil. But my American ass being over here, they look at me. Every time I say emu, they like emu. He's stupid. They don't say that. Australians are cool as fuck. They don't be saying that. Maybe internally they say that, but they never say that out loud. But emu oil to me is a really good base because oils in general are gonna keep your skin. It's becoming right. Oils in general, in my opinion, are going to moisturize your skin and do a lot better for your skin than actual lotion. So for me, it's basically emu, You know what I'm saying? And it's not that expensive. Like you can find like a 7 pound tub or something like that of emu oil on eBay for like $100, something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's if you buy little things of it, then it's more expensive. But the more it's like fragrances. The more and more you buy, the less expensive it is for the amount that you get. Um, that's how you spell it. You got it right. You spelled it exactly right. The animal emu oil. And I think it's like emu fats or something like that. No. I was gonna say emu secretion. It's not that. It kind of looks like that though. Like when you look at it, it's like, what? What is this? What am I putting on my? We're not gonna get too raunchy on the joint, but yeah. So that's me personally. I like to wear just for my skin in general. Now, mind you, I look like a dead person right now because I have not had my shower. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know what I'm saying? I might get in the pool later, so you know what I'm saying? That chlorine might fuck me up a little bit, drop me out. I'll be ashy as fuck. But if I put on the oils, you know what I'm saying? My 32-year-old ass will look like, or if I shave too, you know what I'm saying? Get that up. My 32-year ass will look like 23, you know what I'm saying? But right now, I'm just kind of looking a little dead, you know what I'm saying? Like, just rolled out of bed and all that stuff. But yeah, I like to personally use emu as well as castor oil. The thing about castor oil though is you definitely get a smell from it. Some people like it. I don't care for it, but I don't hate it. But if you let it kind of dry down, like let's say you give yourself an hour to get ready and all that stuff. You take a shower, 20 minutes, however long you want to take. Put the emu and castor oil on and just wait for like 15, 20 minutes. That smell will die down. Spray your fragrances. You're going to be good all day. Like, for instance, I usually get a good 8 hours out of my worst performing fragrances that I have are Dolce & Gabbana The One and Burberry London. Those are probably my two worst. If I put on like 10 sprays of Burberry London, I'm good for at least 8 hours. If I put on what brought me to Australia, my lady lives over here, so it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Get over here, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool. I visited over here last year, and I thought it was beautiful. Like, the people are just super nice. Yeah, man. Like the people are, like, I'm sure there's places in America or in the States that have people like people here. But I was living in Northern Virginia, and Northern Virginia just sucks balls. Like, I'm sorry. I like DC though. DC is dope. DC is super dope. Northern Virginia just sucks. And I was raised in Charlottesville, Virginia, so y'all know all that bullshit that was happening in Charlottesville. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people that was in. I know a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? But I was raised in Charlottesville, Virginia. I was born in Maryland, but mostly lived my core years growing up in Charlottesville. So with Charlottesville, like you got, let's say you have racist people, and I don't give a fuck about racism. I just don't care. Like you can call me names. Like it's just like y'all. You ever saw that Faison Love interview? Was like if you gonna call me a nigga from across the street, I mean, what the fuck is that? But like if you get up, you know what I'm saying. If you touch me, that's a whole nother thing. That's kind of how I am. Like I don't give a fuck about words. What are words? Words are as much as you. Words are as powerful as you give them power. So that's how I feel about it. But Northern Virginia, it's just like you get that vibe of these motherfuckers don't like me, but they acting fake, and I'm more upfront. So like, if we don't vibe, we don't vibe, and I might make that if it's necessary to make it a point, then I'll say it. But I'm not gonna be rude about it. I might just be like, I don't rock with you like that, or maybe I don't really tell people that I don't trust them because then they start trying to do things to gain your trust, and it's just like now I really don't like you because I already felt the vibe of I can't trust you and you doing extra to get me to trust you and you just look more fake. But yeah, Northern Virginia just kind of sucked. DC is cool though. DC is cool. But yeah, moving over here, just people are so Like they're open, they're honest, they're very welcoming. Like this is the most I feel more welcome here in Australia than I ever did in the United States. The closest I felt welcome was when I was in California. Like when I was in LA, LA is dope. LA is fucking dope. Like the people out there are just like there's a very much a similarity to how the people are in LA versus over here. And maybe it's the beach life because we got the beach life. We got hella beach life over here. So maybe it's that, but you know, my lady lives over here, so is there racism against Aboriginal peoples there? Get lumped in with them? Nah. When I first visited over here last year, my lady told me that I stand out because I'm American. So I don't think that I get lumped in with Aboriginal people. But I've also noticed like I think that there's more of an effort to sort of negate any kind of past racism with Aboriginals here. Um, and it's not like overtly. So like you know how with this whole new culture you got like the all inclusive. So like anything that you got like if they rebrand Star Wars and make a new episode 4, 5, and 6, Luke Skywalker might be like a dyke. And I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but it's just words. Like don't get offended. Like when I was growing up, I was a little bit more big. People used to say I had titties. Used to talk about my lip. People used to talk about my nose. Fuck it, like it's all cool. It's funny to me. Looking back on it, it's funny to me. It built up my character. So I feel like everybody getting offended, it's like people. There's a lack of character development within people because people are so like, don't say that. Like you can't say retarded. And like that's offending me. Like you know, I'm a he, she, her. You can't call me sir. That was a good round. Shouts out to me. But yeah, so I feel like there's a legit effort to kind of sort of correct any kind of past wrongdoings here, but it's not coming from a fake place. It's not coming from, oh, we got to include, a dark character. Like we got to include the gay and lesbian culture, you know, to make people not feel bad. It's like, no, we going, what I'm saying? We see how we did, we see what we did, and we going to try to correct these efforts. You know what I'm saying? That's how it feels like to me. When I walk down the street, I'm in the suburbs, and I walk down the street, people are like, how you doing, or how you going, good day, it's all cool. Like, that's just my experience. Other people in other places might have different experiences, but I think it also is about your mentality. So if you walk around and anything like if somebody doesn't like if you walk around and you have darker skin and certain people don't like you, it's like sometimes people automatically think, oh, this person is racist. For me, I'm just like, okay, maybe this person don't fuck with me. Like just maybe it's my personality, maybe it's my hair, so I don't know what it is. But this person just might not fuck with me. And I don't think that it's racism. I just think people decide. Like sometimes you get that vibe from somebody that you just don't like. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think. A lot of people don't like Kanye West because of things that he's saying. But they never like sat down and talked to Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? They never like had any kind of dealings with them. He's never done anything to them. But they just automatically don't like him because of some of the things that he said in the past, which may or may not have been misunderstood. I don't know. But if I never met you or we never had any kind of dealings, unless you're like Janie Hendrix or something, I don't like her. Fuck her. But unless you're her, I'm just like, hey, you do what you do, you say what you say. You ain't ever bothered me. You ain't ever done nothing to me. You ain't never done nothing to my family. So I can't not like you. I might have an opinion, but until we come face to face, it's all love. It's all good. Like I'm big on just treating people as humans. You know what I'm saying? And even if I have an issue with somebody, it's like I'd much rather talk it out with you and just tell you how I feel, and we can either come together and respect the fact that I might have felt this way, and we just respect the fact that we even talk to each other, or you just be like, nah, bro, fuck you, and then I'm just like, all right, and it's all whatever, cool. Fuck me then, you know what I'm saying? Isn't it weird talking to a screen, a quiet room? But no, I think because I'm used to it. Like I've had an Instagram Oh, I got it. I got it deactivated right now, but my main Instagram is Tony Battle 17, and I have a decent amount of followers on that. So I used to do lives all the time, or like just mainly playing music and stuff. So I've gotten used to it, but I guess if you're not really used to it, you can kind of view it as like a FaceTime. Like I'm FaceTiming the people, you know what I'm saying? What's up, all the people? Hey, everybody scream Tony, Tony, we love you, Tony. All that stuff. I don't really care. I don't take myself too seriously, as you can see, so it's just like whatever. Um, Going to sub my YouTube. Yeah, you can either follow that one, Kiss Me Ass, KISSMIASH, or my other one, which is mainly dedicated to like music, which would just be Tony Battle. Just YouTube Tony Battle, and that should be like the first 100 or however many people. I think there was a character on a show named Tony Battle, but that's like my birth name. My birth name is actually Tony. So that's why it was funny, Ben. If you're still in here, that's why it was super funny when you were calling me Anthony that one time. Cause like I've legit had like old girlfriends like when they get mad at me like Anthony, and I'm just like, yo, that's not my name. Yo, you know that's not my name. Like I know you're just saying that to piss me off. Fuck you. Like so it's just that was funny. Like that was genuinely like hilarious to me when you was calling me that when we was going back and forth. I'm just like, bruh, yo. If you weren't trying to be funny, that would actually push my buttons a little bit. But yeah, my name I've never been Anthony. It's always wild, like when you introduce yourself to people. Sometimes it's happening like piss me off. This is the one thing that'll piss me off the most. It's like I'll introduce myself as Tony, and then they're like automatically, literally call me Anthony after that, and I'm just like, that's not what I just said. Like, there's no way in hell, there's no fucking way that when I told you my name was Tony, you heard Anthony. There's no way in like there's literally no way in hell. Why did you do that? Now we might have to step outside. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that deep, but it's slightly annoying. But yeah, I think I'm pretty much done for the day. That's kind of all the things. But yeah, my YouTube will basically be like an event encyclopedia, so to speak. But I do have like a big gap. Like I don't have any 2010s, no 2012s, no 2013s. So it's like 11, 14, 15, 16, 17. And I also don't have any 18. So from 17 to 19. Top 3 PV fragrances and why. This will be the last question I answer, and then we get up out of here because my lady should be coming in anytime soon. And I'm kind of sweaty. I need a shower. Like I feel like I smell myself more than I smell these fragrances, and that's just not pleasing to anybody. Top 3. Are we including Emperor Cologne? Let's not, but I really do like Emperor Cologne and Emperor Cologne Intense. Between the two, I can't pick a favorite. One day I like Emperor Cologne better. The next day I like Emperor Cologne Intense better, and then so on and so forth. So, and they both have their place, and they both have amazing longevity and sillage. Like, they perform both amazingly. Neither one of them performs better than the other. So yeah, favorite 3. You know what? Let's go with the top 5. Top 5. It's a lot easier for me to do a top 5 than a top 3. In no particular order, but I'm going to try to order them as close as possible. So we got King. King would be in the top 5. King, Noir, maybe King Intense, Emperor X Straight, and a 2-way tie between Colossus. And since Colossus and limited edition kind of smell almost exactly the same, Colossus and the limited edition will act as one. So technically, okay, 3-way tie between limited edition Colossus and Emperor Napoleon. So King Intense, Emperor X Straight / EDP. What else did I say? Noir, and then the 3-way tie between limited edition, Colossus, and Napoleon. I don't know why I did that extra, but so there we go. Those are my 3 favorite. And like I said, I've owned them all just to kind of bring it all full circle from what I was talking about in the beginning. I've been here quite a while. How long has it been? Goddamn. But just to bring it all full circle, I've owned all of them except for Parfums Vintage Classic or Pineapple Vintage Classic and Noir Intense. And I only didn't ever get Noir Intense because it got discontinued before I decided that's one that I wanted. Out of all of those, I have samples of, or the only ones that I currently have full bottles of are limited edition, Colossus, King Intense, Emperor Cologne, Emperor Cologne Intense. All the other ones, I basically sold the bottles, but I kept decants for myself. So anywhere between 20 and 40 milliliters for myself, and then sold the bottles. So yeah, that's all it is. We had a good time. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I didn't expect anybody to tune in, to be completely honest. So it's actually dope that people are. One, is dope that people are still here. I'm just like, damn, like, wow, like, am I that beautiful? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm surprised that anybody's still here, and I'm surprised the amount of people that actually came in. To be honest, so if you have any questions, you can hit me up in the DM or PM, whatever you want to call it. That's cool. I ain't gonna get annoyed. I ain't gonna be like, oh, why are you asking me these questions? Fuck off. No, I'm gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? I'll probably send you a voice message because it's a lot easier for me to verbalize what I'm saying. And then I can kind of speak with my hands as I'm verbalizing as well, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier for me to do that than just type everything. So if you ask me a question, I'll probably answer it via a voice message. So hopefully that doesn't annoy you. Hopefully my voice is soothing and sexy and sultry like Barry White, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, ask me anything. If you want to ask me about legit Aventus, cool. If you want to ask me about the doers, cool, you know what I'm saying? The opening 13Z is trash. But it is what it is. So I see y'all when I see y'all. And if you're looking for my Kiss Me Ash page, just be aware that I currently have no videos on there, but those will develop in time. I might actually do a video today, but probably not because I got a lot going on. I got to mow the grass. I think I'm going to take a swim. You know what I'm saying? I still haven't taken a shower today, so ugh. I got the room smelling like onions and farts. You know what I'm saying? It's just nah, that ain't sexy. So yeah. Oh, you know, non-Aventus aside, Exalted Le Musc Intense, fucking beautiful, beautiful. I might actually like them. I might like that fragrance more than majority of the Pineapple Vintage line, to be completely honest. And another honorable mention to talk about is Cacophony. I have the original EDT of Coromandel, Chanel Coromandel. I have like a damn near full bottle of the original EDT. Not the EDP, but the EDT. And it was quite expensive, by the way. Quite fucking expensive. But Cacophony is a great clone / interpretation of it. It's like 95% close. And that extra 5%, it will be something I would have to look for as far as the differences rather than me like legit picking up like differences on the wearing. But so if you have any interest in Coromandel EDT, definitely pick up Cacophony by Parfums Vintage. And I've never smelled Bleecker Street, but Exalted Le Musc Intense is fucking beautiful. So with that said, I'm out. Take care. I appreciate all y'all for tuning in. I appreciate all y'all for staying here, listening to me. Like I said, ask any questions that you got for me, and I got you. Have a good day. Have a good night wherever you are in the world. Peace.